I think we're playing at a higher level than we were. I feel like especially the last 4 games starting with Houston, we played really good basketball. We let the Memphis game slip, but other than that, I feel like we played good basketball.
Seeing the scoring up, I mean, that's got to be a sight for sore eyes for you guys. What do you kind of attribute some of that to?
Our assists are up, so we're hitting the paint, getting good looks from 3. And I feel like overall our dribble penetration has been really good. That's contributed to a lot of easy buckets for us.
At the same time, defensively, you're holding opponents to 107 points per game over the last 4, and also down like 3% of your average from three-point range. Have you noticed anything different defensively to what you guys have been doing over this recent stretch?
I mean, we've done some little fundamental tweaks, I guess, to try and figure out how to defend the three-point line better. So we've done a good job of doing that in these last couple of games, and we've seen success in the percentages dropping and teams making less threes. So.
That's similar to last year as far as the fundamentals and the techniques and in terms of what they started emphasizing later in the year?
I mean, yeah, because once you get in the season, because you go through all of it in training camp, and then once you get in the season, you don't have as much practice time. So to have some practice time to kind of go over that again, and I think this worked benefits for us.
The schedule is kind of quirky right now with the tournament. I think 2 games in 10 days. Good thing, bad thing? What are your thoughts on playing 2 games over 10 days?
I mean, it can be a good thing as long as we're all still can stay locked in through that time. So for us, it could be a good thing. I mean, it could be a bad thing if you consider it as a break, and it's really not a break. So.
Malik kind of joked this is almost like another mini training camp right now, just like first day of having this extended practice opportunity. What's been emphasized?
I feel like we've gone back to the fundamentals of training camp and things like that. And I think guys and the coaches kind of tried to just simplify everything. This practice time is good for us, I think, because we've had a lot of back-to-backs and a lot of things like that early on this season.
You're playing the Pelicans on Thursday. Last year, you guys were 0-6 against that team. Is there any sort of I want to get back at that team type of mentality with the team at all?
I mean, of course. If you go 0-6 against a team this season, it's tough. But we want to go in there, we want to win. That's our goal right now. They have a little bit of a different roster, and guys out, so we just want to go in and continue to play like we've been playing. I think we'll find success.
What's been the biggest difference with Malik in the starting lineup for you guys?
He brings, especially offensively, he brings more firepower. He's a guy that has been playing really good on pick and roll with Domas. So teams, there's only so much teams can scout with the offensive weapons that we have, and just adding him makes it even tougher. And he's looked really good since he's been in the lineup.
Mike said he thought that Utah game was one of your better showings, specifically for the job on Laurie. What were you keyed in on going into that matchup?
Just ball pressure, just getting underneath him and just making it difficult for him on the catch. And I felt success in that early and just tried to stick with it. So every game's different, every team's different. I've had success with guys this season, and I think that was one of my better defensive games for sure.
How much more are you getting accustomed to guarding some of those bigger guys? I know that was an emphasis coming into this year.
Looking back at earlier in the season to now, I feel like I've made significant progress. Just figuring out, because guys are a lot stronger in this league, especially at the 4 spot than I'm used to. So, there's a lot of guys that play Boyle, like John Collins, Julius Randle, things like that. So, just trying to continue to figure out how I can be better. And I think by the end of the year, I'll be pretty good at it. So.
Thanks, Keegan. Appreciate it.
All right, you've experienced a lot in this early season. Just kind of, you won 3 or 4 now. Just what do you feel?
I feel like like you said, we've experienced a lot of injuries, a lot of different rotations, guys coming in and out. So I think it's going to help us down the line a lot.
Are you encouraged by what you've seen over this stretch?
Yeah, of course. These last 2 games were games that we usually don't play as focused, and we came out and took care of business. So, I'm definitely proud of that.
We talked about how the schedule opening up, 4 games in 13 days.
Yeah.
Almost will feel like another training camp for you. Is that going to be beneficial for you?
For sure. Yeah, for sure. We're going to go over everything we did in training camp, and obviously coach has changed some things since training camp, so we're just going to freshen it.
Mike's been emphasizing a lot of the details, doing it possession after possession. What are some of those details you guys feel like you've been doing well offensively?
Just little things, running to the corners, trying to get someone else open, trying to play for other people, how you set screens, all these little things, add up.
over these last 4 games, I mean, a 3-1 record, but the defense is really starting to stand out, holding opponents to 107 points per game and only 35% from 3. What are you noticing that's different? Is it just things are clicking better? What is it differently that's going on defensively?
We're making shots, so that's obviously helping a lot, especially on the defensive end. But yeah, coaches changed some things on the defensive end. We've done it for the last 5 games, and they've showed us the numbers. It could be luck or not, but what we have changed has been working a bit, so we're going to stick to it.
Can you go a little bit deeper into how does making shots on the offensive end affect the way you play defense?
I mean, if you take a bad shot and you miss, it's a transition easy too. You don't even have a chance to guard. You're out of position. You got bodies. If you make your shots, the team's taking out of bounds. It's half-court defense already. We all know in the NBA it's a lot harder to score in the half-court than in transition.
Domas, reflecting like on these last 5 games with Malik in the starting lineup and the way things have gone offensively, just what are you seeing there? How much is the kind of that pick and roll component maybe coming into play?
It's about time, and I'm happy, and he's thriving. He's a great leader. He's showing it that the vibes are great. Everyone's happy, and the ball's moving, and I feel like it's contagious and it starts to go.
Including the pick and roll, the little 2-man game you guys have?
Yeah, because if they tag me, he's kicking it out, other guys are getting involved. It's just a whole domino effect.
Domas, you guys are playing the Pelicans on Thursday, 0-6 against them last year. Is that a team that you've circled on the calendar that you guys want to get back at?
I don't think we've circled, but we definitely can't lose. I mean, that's all I got to say.
Did you see I assume, the video of Coach saying possession after possession?
Yeah, someone put it in the group chat.
Was there some version of that privately that he threw at you guys?
Probably said like 3 times in a row, not 100. But yeah, he just wants us to not get bored and stay consistent. If it's working, stay with it, and just because we scored or did something good a couple times, don't change it because you just feel like it. If it's working, stay with it.
To that point, you talk about the connection between offense and defense. The other day, he talked a lot about how he thinks the media and the fans are looking at offense too much, and that if the defense is where it's got to get fixed. I just wonder that philosophical discussion. How do you see it?
Yeah, I feel like both have to be good. We keep showing everyone complains about offense, but we're 6th in the league in offense. Our defense is what can get better. So we know there's so much more room to improve, but we are 6th at the end of the day. And on the defensive end, it's about, like you said, possession after possession and being consistent. Because we can't do it when we want to in the second half or fourth quarter when we're down. But we just got to do it throughout the game.
How well is it? It was about time with Malik in the lineup. Is that more so because how bad he wanted it and how much he would talk about it?
He wanted it? No, he's never talked about it. He comes in, does his work, but people see the work he puts in. He comes in, he brings good energy. The ball's contagious, so it's a good feeling.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks so much.
Thank you guys. Thanks.
Malik was talking about so much practice time. They were talking about maybe looking at more of the fundamentals. How do you just kind of look at this stretch for you guys?
It just gives us the time to get on the floor and clean up some things. And also, during the year, because you don't have much time to get together as a group and all you're doing is showing film, it gives you a chance to go through some stuff. Even if you're not, quote unquote, poor in this area, it gives you a chance to clean it up. Like today, we worked a little bit on post defense. We haven't talked about post defense in forever, but it's just an opportunity to revisit it, because we have some time. And so as coaches, hopefully we're picking out the right things to go back and revisit. First of all, we're working on the things that we're weak in on both sides of the floor. But then on top of that, we're picking out some things that we need to revisit right now because we have the time.
How do you just evaluate? I mean, right now you won 3 of 4. You guys have experienced a lot in this early season. Do you like where you guys are at as a whole overall, and just kind of assess maybe the ups and downs you've had?
I like the adversity that we're going through, because if at the end of the day we can't handle this, then we weren't good enough anyway, in my opinion. I've never been I've been to 6 finals with 3 different teams, once as a head coach. And during the course of the season, I've never not experienced adversity that we had to figure out, because come playoff time, you will run into some. So during the course of the season, to be able to figure it out, find ways to get through it together will only help you in the long run. So I like all that. I wish we probably had a couple more wins, though, at this point in time. But there's still plenty of basketball with as good as we are as a team to dig our way out of where we're at right now.
Speaking of figuring it out, Mike, I mean, over the last 4 games, 3-1, but holding teams to 107 points per game, 35% from the three-point line. Defensively, is something starting to click? Or Domas brought up the fact that making shots now allows you to set up more of a half-court defense instead of transition defense. What have you noticed defensively over the last 4 games?
Yeah, a combination of a lot of things. Yes, making shots, but that's not the only reason why our defense is where it is right now. Our guys are doing a better job at the things that we're preaching. And I said this 1 or 2 games ago, we re-emphasized how we want to close out the shooters. And when we did that 2 or 3 games ago, our defensive percentages, especially from the three-point line, have gotten a lot better. And it's not just because we said it, but it's because our guys have started embracing it and taking it to heart on the floor. So defensively, offensively, we're doing better in a lot of areas now than what we were before. But I'm not just putting it on the guys. Also with me, there's a comfort level and an understanding of what I need to do to be able to help these guys on both ends of the floor. But having said that, we're still making mistakes as a staff, and I got to work my tail off to make sure that I keep trying to put them in the best position possible. This year, I've stayed here later this year after games than I have combined years 1 and 2, because I got to make sure that obviously work breeds confidence. If I'm saying that, I got to do what I believe in. And so I have to make sure I'm busting my ass to make sure I'm on point and helping these guys. And I said it preseason, I didn't. I kind of threw them out there and let them figure it out. Early in the season, I played DeMar in 3 stints, and every time the second stint came around and he was balling, I kept him on the floor. And then I punched myself in the gut afterwards because I looked at the stat sheet and he was up to 43 minutes in a regular game. So I needed to make adjustments, not just rotation-wise, defensively and offensively, and it still needs to happen, but there's a better feel starting with me, which means it's going to translate to the players being more comfortable out there too. But that doesn't excuse them from doing their job every single night for 48 minutes.
Mike, didn't see Malik or DeMar on the floor today. Any issues with them in their participation today?
It's precautionary. Like if we played in a game today, they could play.
What do they do? What are they dealing with?
I'm sorry, Shannon. Why is DeMar and Malik out? They want to know. Oh God, dog it.
Mike, it's okay.
I apologize.
It's okay.
Save that audio.
Yeah, if I break.
Yeah, that's all I know too. We had a game today, they would have
Okay, so I'm sorry. That's
Playing in gaps is one of those details you guys have been emphasizing defensively. Do you mind outlining just kind of what you're looking for there and the importance of it?
Yeah, so last year one of the areas that we were really weak at is protecting the paint. Teams drove at us at a pretty high clip, and so we call it shifting. So we're trying to do a better job of shifting to help protect the on-ball defender. It's hard in this league for anybody to guard the ball one-on-one. And so our shifts have to be better, but they have to be active. I can't just stand there like this and then let them throw it to the corner and think I'm going to get to the corner and close out. I also have to know when I'm shifting, and I'm shifting with a sense of urgency while being big, I got to know who I'm closing out to. I can't just blindly run out there and leave my feet if this guy is not a hot shooter. And there are not many hot shooters out there. I got to still close to his body. But it's not one guy guarding the ball, it's 5 guys guarding the ball on a string. So every time that ball moves, we should all be moving, talking, and adjusting, knowing that when it moves again, we should all be moving, talking, and adjusting, but trying to take away the dribble drive to the rim, which we were poor in last year.
Going back to the Utah game, what stood out to you about Keegan's defense on Lowry in that game?
He played with a sense of physicality while trying not to foul, which is tough because Lowry is an all-star. And, a lot of people don't give this young man a lot of credit because they've seen Keegan do it at a high level now for a while. But I thought when he got in foul trouble and we threw Kobe out there, Kobe brought a level of physicality, even though he was 4, 5, 6 inches shorter than Lowry. And again, not going to stop him, but you just got to make him work while trying to make him feel you the whole time. and Kobe did a fantastic job with it. So both of those guys did a great job with it at the point of attack, but they had a lot of support behind them, and our guys did a fantastic job trying to stick with the game plan and slow them down.
Mike, you've always been a workaholic, but I wonder those nights when you're staying late and breaking film down, are you having moments when you find answers that weren't there?
When what?
Do you find answers late at night when you put the extra work in? Like, I wonder
Yeah.
how much of it is that versus you just trying to get the energy out?
There are always answers, or better answers, and I know for me, I need quiet and be by myself, and there's no better place than to do that after a game here. And again, I am a firm believer that the work breeds confidence. And I keep telling that to our guys, I tell it to you guys, I tell that to a lot of people. And so I have to make sure that whenever I say something, I'm doing it too. Because as a leader, I can't just point the finger, or run away from my responsibilities of me not doing the right thing, For instance, we played in San Antonio, and it was at the end of a quarter. I can't remember if it was at the end of the second quarter, in the third quarter, not the end of the fourth quarter, but the ball gets knocked out of bounds, and we had the ball gets knocked out of bounds, and starting with myself, we're yelling at the referees about, it's our ball. And then it snapped in me, but it snapped too late. I can't worry about the frickin' referees. I should have gotten DeMar off the floor with a defensive substitution. And that moment passed, and I'm like, God, talk it. And again, it starts with me. But I turned and told all my coaches, guys, we got 15 coaches here, and every one of us are freaking yelling, hey, it's our ball, it's our ball. Kick DeMar off the floor. There's 8 seconds to go. All it is going to be a defensive possession for us. Get him off the floor, A, so he can get his rest early, and B, so they don't put him in an action to where possibly he picks up a foul. Simple as that. So a lot of things that I see that I can do better, that we could do better as a staff, starting with me, but the players have to do their job as well.
Mike, is there any truth at all to a gap being too long or a pause being too long? It seems like you guys had good momentum, we're figuring things out, and now you're only playing one game over like 8 or 9 days or something like that. Is it good? I know it's good to have the practice time, but can the break be too long in the middle of a season?
It's one of those things, Lanny, where it is what it is, and we got to figure out a way to bring it. I mean, this is what we get paid to win, and it doesn't matter what the circumstance is in front of us. If we can control it, then I'd rather control it by maybe having a couple of days in the game. I don't know at the end of the day, but it is what it is, and so we have to try to be smart with it, and we have to try to get something out of it during this time, and then go lace them up when our numbers call.
Kevin's been playing 2 12-minute stretches these last 4 games. How comfortable are you with that sort of being his spot after trying to figure it out a little bit at the beginning of this year?
Real comfortable, and it's a matter of, can he play at a high level, because we want everybody to exert a lot of energy. And so can you exert that energy at a high level for 12 straight minutes, which is a long time. And, he's shown the last couple of games that he can do it. We have to be ready to throw somebody out on that floor, though, to sub for him in case his play falls off at all. Whether he's tired or he's picked up foul trouble or whatever it is. But and then I go back to, that's why, hey, there's only going to be so many minutes, because I want to try to get Kevin out there for that period if possible. But it may not always happen, but when it does, then there's less minutes for everybody else, So we got to keep trying to figure it out, but the 5 guys that are starting, they're going to play their 35 to 36. Kevin's going to play his 20, hopefully around 24, sometimes maybe a little longer. Domas is going to have a backup that's going to play at least 12 to 14 minutes a game, and then there's not much more left after that. But guys have to be ready to fill in the gaps whenever is needed.
Anything else?
The two-man game with Monk being in the lineup and him and Domas, the way they work in the pick and roll together. What are you seeing there, and how beneficial has that been for what you guys are doing on offense?
It's huge because those guys are really. I mean, that's a high level two-man game. In my opinion, it all starts with Malik's pace, in his change of pace. You know, he goes quick to slow, slow to quick, and that's what kind of gets defenses jumping initially. And then Domas is so good at either setting it and getting out or slipping it. And so that rhythm that's not always constant, especially with the floor open and it happening in transition, gives us an advantage. And so it's about the rhythm, about the pace, and about the abilities of both guys mixing up different things, because Malik can finish with the layup, he can finish with a floater, he can finish with the pocket, or he can finish with the spray, and so it makes it a dangerous combination when those guys are playing that two-man game in flow and right away.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, guys.